Hey, everyone. Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd. I hope you are doing well. And it is time for another weekly track roundup where I go over what I felt were the worst and the best tracks of the week. You know what it is, or at least I hope you do now that I have told you. We have quite a few tracks to go over in this episode, so let's not waste any more time. First off, down in the description box, before we get into the tracks, is our Turntable Lab link. We get kickback from that. Supports the channel and everything else. Check it out. Also, our Patreon page, our wonderful Patreon page where you can get access to bonus monthly content for a super cheap tier, also access to our Discord as well. Check it out. We have a cool community over there. And also shout out to our newly founded newsletter, which is linked down below.com, theneedledrop.com/newsletter. Again, you can find the link down below. You know, week to week, it seems that sometimes YouTube is not the best delivery method for all the content we do. Sometimes I do get tweets and emails, sometimes days after I have put out certain reviews or pieces of content to people saying, hey, when are you going to review this? When are you going to review that? And sometimes the answer is, well, I already have. I've talked about it over here. I talked about it right here. You just need to check it out right here. So obviously some stuff is not quite making it into the subscription feed maybe, or getting recommended as often as other stuff, which, you know, is fine. It happens, but I figure doing a newsletter, which we're going to drop every week, sign up down below, link down below. We're just going to bring all that content together every week that we do, so you don't miss any of it. You're aware of all of it. So, you know, if you don't want to miss a thing, hit up that newsletter down below. Cool. All right. And shout out also to a link to this Bandcamp page featuring nothing but demos to Lingua Ignota's Caligula record, which is pretty fantastic that she saw fit to release these dang demos. So if you're a big fan of that LP, was it one of your favorite albums of last year, of last decade? Check it out. You're probably going to want to hear these demos. Do not miss out. All right, worst tracks of the week. We have a handful in this one. It's been a busy week for worst tracks. Let's see. This new one from Lil Baby, On Me. He dropped a couple of singles this week. The other one's a lot better, everybody. But this one over here is quite drab, quite generic, and sounds like something on his last full-length LP that dropped this year that was absolutely redundant and pretty much pointless. Farrah Abraham, reality TV star, has come through with a couple of Christmas covers this year. This one is for Jingle Bell Rock. And yeah, it's like a terrible MIDI instrumental and MIDI sax with lots of heavily auto-tuned singing. You know, you could say it's the worst. You could say it's bad. There's also maybe an argument that Farrah continues to be making proto-hyperpop, post-hyperpop. It's strange. It's strange. I think that there might also be a bit of confusion as to what song she's singing exactly, and the track kicks off with a really weird podcast-style intro, but whatever. Give it a listen. It's sure to be entertaining either ironically or unironically. All right, moving on from there, Britney Spears, Swimming in the Stars. Pretty generic new single, if you ask me. Production has no flavor whatsoever, and the tune is not really one of her strongest either. It's pretty much a dud in my view. Then we have Aunt Clemens and Justin Timberlake, Better Days. Very, I guess, patronizing little ballad about things that are nicer coming down the pipe on account of fucking what? Like Joe Biden being president? Get the hell out of here. Like, I mean, obviously, I'm glad Orange Man gone, but the whole point of this seems to, I don't know, insinuate that, the Democrats are just going to save the day. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I think they can be pushed into better policy, but if you think they're just going to hand that better policy to you on a silver platter, you've got another thing coming. So I don't know. It seems like between the political landscape and the social landscape, and just because of the ongoing misery due to the pandemic, there's not a whole lot to look forward to in the immediate sense, especially with a lot of people going bankrupt, with more lockdowns around the corner and no financial relief in sight. It just seems like a really, I guess, tone deaf song to release at this point, and also the vocals all suck. So, there's also that. And we also have another one from 24K Golden, this one featuring DaBaby Coco. Vocal lines on this one are a mess. And what the hell is this drawing on the cover? It looks like Napoleon Dynamite drew it. I do not get the appeal at all. And DaBaby flow, I guess he switched it up a little bit, but outside of that, there's not really anything interesting about the track. All right, songs that I was kind of meh on this week, weren't blowing me away, but certainly thought they were worth pointing at. Sleaford Mods, Shortcomings, really kind of throwing it back to the super raw and lyrical days of their early stuff. It's not too bad. Lil Baby Everybody, I feel like this is one of his better songs in general, but even by that metric, it sort of just ends up sounding like an okay Future song. So I don't know. I guess if this was a Future track, it would be okay. I'll leave it at that. We have a new one from posthumous one from Benny Blanco and Juice WRLD, Real Shit. Very weak production on this one, but outside of that, it does have some decent, Juice vocal lines on it, I suppose. Give it a shot. Greta Van Fleet has landed in the meh category. This new track of theirs, Age of Machine. Yeah, it is derivative, but honestly, I do kind of commend the ambition on the production and the composition side. This is one of their longest tracks, and it really does feel like a bit of a journey, Still, I mean, the bands that they kind of rip off are still the bands they rip off. I would say that they're leaning a little bit maybe more toward just a touch of Rush maybe on this one, just a little bit more Geddy Lee than Robert Plant, but still. I feel like maybe this is the band getting a little more ambitious. I'll leave it at that. I Hate God has a new one out, and High Risk Trigger is the title. I just wish it was heavier, noisier, more abrasive. I mean, it's got some decent riffs on it, but for an I Hate God track, it's sonically, I think it's a little tame. And finally, Billie Eilish has done a cover of the Beatles' Something. And yeah, it's pretty basic, straightforward vocals, straightforward piano. Nothing really to speak of. It's a fine rendition, I suppose. All right, best tracks this week. We have quite a few tracks to go over that were bangers this week. Damn, we actually do have a lot of tracks. Let's get to it. Zola Jesus doing a cover of an Armenian song, Krunk. Beautiful little vocal rendition on this one. Try it out. It is ethereal and gorgeous, and the vocals are just stunning. Wesley Gonzalez of Let's Wrestle fame has come through with a very sad, depressing holiday ballad, Red Man is Back Again. It's quite good. Love the vocals and tune on this one especially. I am also fucking with this Blinding Lights remix featuring Rosalía. I know that the internet is not so much split, but just hating Rosalía on this one. I mean, I get that maybe her style doesn't, or I guess her style might catch you off guard. If you're used to hearing the track a certain way, or if, you feel like this is a bit of a square peg in a round hole or something like that. But I think she complements the track, especially as her and Abel's vocals are harmonizing. I think that portion of the song is quite great, and I respect, these two coming together, and I think it's quite interesting and ambitious of Abel to do a remix of such a beloved track and include a vocalist of Rosalía's caliber. All right, Creatures, new one from Viagra Boys, where they really go in on the synth pop thing, the new wave thing once again, but they find a way to make it grimy, and I love it. Creatures, again, is the title of the track. It's fantastic. Santa Stay Home, a new Christmas-themed cut from U.S. Girls that is quite good. I actually think it rivals many tracks off of the latest U.S. Girls album, so that's good. It's dancey. It's got some social commentary. It's a little hooky, too. I love it. All right, a new one from The Comet Is Coming. Shabaka Hutchings and the gang come through with this futuristic jazz fusion epic that's quite lengthy. Some of the grooves and horn passages remind me a little bit of Sons of Kemet too, but way more like digital and futuristic. It's fantastic. I love the shit out of this track. It's easily one of my favorite tracks of the year. Goes hard. New one from Shame. You know, up until this point, this post-punk band has always been like a little... I guess underwhelming to me, but this track, wow, this track is quite fucking good. Multi-phased rager with lots of interesting changes. I'll say that it reminds me a little bit of Ought, reminds me a little bit of what the hell is that band? Black Country New Road. It reminds me a little bit of their shit. It's a lot more experimental than most of the stuff I've heard from this band so far, so I'm kind of loving this new direction. All right, we have a new one from Phoebe Bridgers over here. It's a Merle Haggard cover. If we make it through December, it's very good. In the Bleak Midwinter by James Blake, one of a handful of wintry and Christmas themed songs and covers that it seems Apple Music has commissioned from a lot of different artists out there. But, this one obviously stuck out to me the most, digging James' work as much as I do. So, and it's a, beautiful vocal performance as well. So give it a try. We have a new one from Igloo Ghost. Is this like a new sound? Is this a teaser to a new project? I'm not entirely sure. Look, it's gorgeous. It reminds me of something like that would land on a Bjork album instrumentally. It reinforces my feelings already that she really needs to work with Igloo Ghost. They need to work together. I feel like they would complement each other really fucking well, and could push her music into a crazy, I guess, visceral, renaissance, I suppose. But, that's just the weird Bjork Igloo Ghost collaboration fantasy in my head, I'll say, on its own. The track is quite great and really dynamic, gorgeous, not pummeling on the rhythmic side or anything like that, like some of the previous stuff. It feels like a teaser. It feels like an epic teaser to a movie I'm really excited about, and I'll leave it at that. Another Year, a song by Phineas. Beautiful piano ballad with some very clever lyrics. And I just think it's some of his best writing so far out of all the solo stuff he's been dropping since his sister's big breakthrough debut LP. So, I'm really kind of respecting the growth over here. Loving that. Iggy Pop with Elvis Costello doing a version of No Flag, and it's mostly in French, and it's great. It rocks. It's abstract and noisy and weird. I think this is the craziest Iggy stuff has sounded in a while. I'm fucking with it heavy. This project called Dear God has a new EP out, and there are some hits on it. There are some misses. This track over here I would like to think is a slapper, though I think my audience might be a little split on if everyone were to try it. But it seems like it's bringing back a lot of nu metal sounds and aesthetics, but kind of, I don't know, just giving them a new, slightly weirder attitude. Honest to God, there are elements of this track that remind me a little bit of Limp Bizkit, of Korn, of maybe Red Hot Chili Peppers too. But again, it's a little darker, a little noisier. And, this new EP, I don't think it's amazing from front to back, but some of the throwback shit really calling back to that alt metal, nu metal, funk metal era in the late 90s and 2000s is quite good. All right, David Diggs with the dudes from Clipping have come through with Disney to drop a hip-hop Hanukkah banger, and it's quite good. And there are some really awesome changes throughout the track as well. Super creative, fun, a good song for the kids. Good song for the kids who are hoping for a puppy for Hanukkah, I suppose. All right, we have a new one from Cordae as well, The Parables, which is a pretty thoughtful and wordy hip-hop cut where he shows off, I think, a lot of tasteful J. Cole influence. I'm digging it. Cordae, I think, continues to be on a good path with his stuff. New one, a new collaborative cut between believe it or not, this is kind of crazy. Again, new collaboration between Burial, Fortet, and Thom Yorke, Sir Thomas Yorke, and 2 tracks, and both are quite good. Both are quite good. They are, I'll say they're minimal, they're hypnotic, they're heavily textured, and Thom's vocals, especially on the second of the 2 tracks, his Rope, are very compelling. Liking what they're doing here. I mean, I guess I fear that this will be the only time these 3 cross paths in this way, in such a direct way. I'm hoping to hear more in this vein, more from this, please more. Real Bad Boldy, upcoming project featuring Real Bad Man on production and Boldy James, Detroit rapper, who I just talked about on the channel not too long ago, kind of going back to his album that dropped over the summer, Manger on McNichols. And On 10 is the track I would love to point in your direction on this one. I think it's quite good. We also have one over here from Blade, and it is a very, I guess I would say like commercial, almost like commercial drained banger. Mecha Talk is also on the track too. God is the title, and it's got a lot of auto-tune, some hard-hitting beats, and again, it sounds abstract, and it sounds very alien, and I guess stiff in the way that a lot of his tracks and Drain Gang tracks have sounded as of late. But there is something about the very earworm hook and those hard-hitting beats on the song that really make it feel like, okay, this almost sounds like it could be like chart or something, you know what I mean? It's very weird. It's very Drain Gang. Again, if you're not too familiar with Blade's work and Drain Gang, you probably don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But believe me, it's aesthetically there is a lot of similarity there, but it just sounds maybe a little more ready for the mainstream in a way. I don't know, which I find kind of interesting. All right, we also have yet another cover from Bonnie Prince Billy and Bill Callahan. Now, the funny thing about this one is that the track that is being covered, or I guess revised here, is an old Smog song, which was Bill Callahan's project. So it's an old Bill Callahan song, and has Dead Rider on the, this version. Our Anniversary is the song that's being covered. And Bonnie Prince Billy, takes the vocal lead for the most part, which is cool. It kind of adds to the variation quality here, and it's a good rendition. It's a very good, thoughtful rendition that I guess takes a lot of liberties, a lot of creative liberties, which I like and respect. It's kind of cool that Bill can be so deeply ingrained into a version of his own song, and it come out almost night and day in a way. All right, new one from Beach Bunny over here, and it's a very sad and thoughtful banger about some relationship woes. Good girls don't get used. It's really good. I wish the production was maybe a little less rough around the edges, but it's still a very solid song. Liking it a lot. All right, Anamanaguchi has done a little chip tune American football cover here. Stay Home, check that one out. It's quite good. And AJ Tracey has a track out with slowthai that is a banger. Don't miss that one. And finally, 100 gecs, Sympathy for the Grinch. They've come through with a Christmas banger, really bringing back the ska, third wave ska vibes that people love so much on cuts like Stupid Horse off of 1000 gecs. And yeah, it's just really good. Hits hard. It's fun as fuck. And gecs just continue to geck. And I think that's going to be it for the weekly track roundup, everyone. Hopefully you got some good recommendations out of this video. It's a long one, but we had a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of stuff to cover. And yeah, you're the best. Love ya. Mwah. Forever.